Hi everyone, this is Balázs from RacingBrick. CES is not usually where LEGO announces new ways of playing with bricks, but 2026 decided to be unusual. LEGO introduced something called Smart Play, a new platform built around the smart bricks, smart eggs and smart minifigures. Everything is very smart, so let's see how smart it actually is. There was a live event at CES and an in-person reveal in London. I wasn't invited to either, but I joined an online presentation and then spent time collecting every piece of information I could find. I wanted to go beyond the flashy demos, and meanwhile some critical updates arrived from LEGO that weren't part of the CES announcement, and those heavily influence how you should view this launch. What are these? Well, the sets will only be available in 6 countries at launch, for example, but there's more. If you only saw the reveal, you might want to stick around. I won't show the CES demos here in detail, you can find them everywhere already. Instead, I will talk about the meaningful details, why I'm cautiously optimistic about the hardware and slightly nervous about the software and the rollout. Buckle up, this might take a bit. Smart Play is a new electronic system from LEGO, but not the usual one. No app required during play, no smart device, no screen. There is an app, but only for firmware updates and settings. Just physical play with audio, lights, sensors and a surprising amount of electronics buried inside a 2x4 footprint. Not a 2x4 brick, a 2x4 footprint. Important distinction before the keyboard starts smoking. I will get back to that. Smart Play launches with 3 Star Wars sets on the 1st of March in 6 markets only: the US, UK, Germany, France, Poland and Australia. The Vader TIE Advanced is €70 or dollars, Luke's X-Wing is €90 or dollars, and the Throne Room Duel with the A-Wing is €160 or dollars. These are all-in-one sets: Smart Brick, Charger, Smart Minifigure and Smart Eggs. Another important update: Smart Bricks and Eggs will not be sold separately at launch. That detail alone might shift your expectations about the ecosystem. The target age is children between 6 and 8. Looking at the playstyles, they're swooshing, crashing, shaking, refueling. This makes total sense. These are sturdy, kid-driven battle playsets, not meant for display and definitely not aimed at AFOs yet. I didn't have hands-on time with the set, so I won't comment on the builds or play value. Now about the brick. From the outside, the Smart Brick looks like someone stacked 2 plates on a regular 2x4 brick and forgot to remove them. It's 5 plates tall and still connects like any other brick. I made this mock-up to show the scale and demonstrate a few scenarios moving forward. Inside, things get a lot more interesting. The brain is a custom ASIC chip reportedly smaller than a single LEGO stud. For non-nerds, ASIC means application-specific integrated circuit, hardware designed for one specific purpose. That's not something companies do for one-wave gimmicks. Custom silicon takes years and a lot of money, so someone at LEGO expects SmartPlay to exist for more than a season. There are also 6 precisely wound copper coils that handle both charging and sensing. The coils enable spatial awareness through something LEGO calls neighbor position measurement. Bricks detect each other's distance, orientation and direction without a hub. Communication happens through a Bluetooth-based brick-to-brick wireless network called BrickNet, with standard Bluetooth only used with the companion app for batteries, settings and firmware. No subscription, no gameplay screens and the app is not required for play. The brick also includes a motion sensor, gyroscope, ambient light sensor, microphone and a color sensor on the side. Quick privacy note: the microphone is physically present but deactivated. It can only be enabled with user permission and a firmware update, and even then it won't record audio, it acts as a sound pressure sensor. At CES it was demonstrated blowing out birthday candles. The brick uses synthesized sound with a small speaker. Not recorded clips, but generated sound, meaning it can create a wide variety of effects. LEDs sit under the outer studs on top to provide various effects. There's really a lot going on inside this volume. Charging is wireless via dock that holds 2 bricks. Full charge takes around 2 hours and LEGO claims about 45 minutes of constant play. In reality, constant play rarely happens, so effective playtime should be longer. And honestly, half an hour of kids running around with starships making noises might require a break anyway. A USB-C to USB-A cable is included, and LEGO will happily sell you a USB power brick if your house isn't already full of them. So, it's physical play, no screens. LEGO pushed that angle hard, they even put an icon on the boxes just to underline it. After Boost, Mindstorms and the others all relying on apps, it appears Smart Play intentionally goes offline. No AI hype, no cloud play, no augmented reality. Many parents will appreciate this. But there's a twist. Smart Play is not robotics either. You don't program anything. No drag and drop blocks, no logic, no conditions. The behavior lives in the tags and minifigures, and the brick reacts accordingly. That has pros and cons, which we'll return to. So, smart tags. They are printed 2x2 tiles with a unique digital ID that communicates what the brick should do, sounds, behavior, effects, and so on. The brick detects them from a couple of plates away. In the X-Wing, there's a tag behind R2-D2 and it still works, but usually they go under the brick. The brick can detect up to 3 tags at once. Smart minifigures work similarly. They have the same symbol printed on the back of the torso. In the throne room set, kids place a smart brick behind each minifig and swing them, and the bricks produce lightsaber hits and character sounds. My daughter found it hilarious. I found it slightly cursed because the minifigs are wearing chunky brick backpacks. But if kids are fine with it, we'll be forgiving for now. In the X-Wing, there's a smart tag below the brick for X-Wing behavior, one on R2-D2, and Luke is the smart minifigure. The red button pushes the smart brick forward so the color sensor reads the red pieces on the side, initiating the firing action. The Imperial turret has moving parts to trigger a similar shooting action, just like the TIE fighter in the other set. Interestingly, that one also includes a classic stud shooter. Ships can also refuel with the blue piece or repair with the green tool, both detected by the color sensor with corresponding sound effects. What LEGO doesn't show in the official videos is multi-set interaction. At CES, you could fly 2 ships and they detected each other, dodge, hit, get shot down and so on. The smart bricks automatically form a wireless network and detect each other in 3-dimensional space using the coils, so they know each other's position, orientation and distance. Imagine 2 bricks facing, one points at the other and triggers an action, like a starship shooting down another, or a fire truck driving up a burning house, and the bricks recognize the event is resolved when the water cannon is triggered while pointing at the brick with the fire tag. One LEGO employee said up to 30 bricks could coexist in the network and the sensing distance should cover a child's room. They demonstrated it working with bricks about 2 meters apart. That could certainly create a complex play scenario. Naturally, reactions online were mixed. Some said kids don't need electronics to make swooshing and pew-pew noises. True, kids have been making those sounds themselves without firmware updates. Others compared it to the old light and sound system. Honestly, I loved light and sound. I still have mine and it still works after 40 years. The difference is light and sound was modular, speaker, lights and power could be distributed with these special plates. Smart Play packs everything into one brick. Both approaches have pros and cons. Returning to the reactions, some said this is just a gimmick and not useful for AFOs. Well, these Star Wars sets are clearly designed for children's battle play. The sets are labeled for ages 6+ to 9+, so they are not intended for AFOL display. These are play sets and sturdy ones because Smart Play encourages shaking, twisting, slamming, docking, taking off and crashing ships. Which raises a funny question, how sturdy do these need to be compared to regular sets? If the brick needs shake to wake, then burying it deep inside a fragile UCS spaceship would probably not go well. I'm also curious how Smart Play behaves in non-Star Wars themes. If a future steam train needs to be shaken awake, we may have problems. And then aesthetics. The smart brick needs to be accessible, so it is visible and sometimes looks out of place. Integrating it into sleek display models could be challenging. Covering sensors or LEDs disables features, so you can just bury the brick without consequences. And now we arrive at the eyebrow-raising part. Smart Play is closed, not Disney logged. It is promised to go beyond Star Wars, but creatively logged. Behaviors live in tags and minifigures. If you don't have an engine tag, you don't get engine sounds. If you build your own spaceship, you can only use existing tags unless LEGO makes a generic spaceship tag later. You can't get new actions or sounds with software updates, you need to buy new sets with new tags. Unlike Mindstorms, Boost or Powered Up, there's no coding, no custom logic, no triggers, no conditions. No real option for customization, which is kind of the point of LEGO. Instead, you consume what LEGO ships. It's premium race bike hardware with training wheels permanently welded on. This is LEGO's most advanced interactive hardware to date, but the software layer depends entirely on LEGO expanding the ecosystem. That's risky, because we've seen what happens when LEGO aims high and then changes direction. Powered Up had promising hardware, but we will probably never receive the official app integrations that were teased. Speaking of Powered Up, LEGO says SmartPlay uses different electronics and isn't designed to operate with Powered Up. Obviously, why make anything compatible? So here's the real question: will a SmartBrick ever control a motor? Will tags ever become inputs for whatever motorization system comes next? Nobody knows, and that uncertainty matters because hardware ecosystems only survive if they evolve. Then there's price and availability. These sets cost noticeably more than equivalent playsets without SmartPlay. How much of that is electronics? LEGO stated SmartBricks and tags won't be available separately on day one, but will they be later? How much will they cost? When will they be widely available? When will they appear in more sets? What if a set works best with multiple SmartBricks but only includes one? In the X-Wing, you need to choose between the ship and the turret, cannot play with both at the same time. In a $90 set, that will be an instant "wait what" moment for kids. LEGO says all sets are fully playable without electronics, and sure, kids can make their own pew-pew noises. But then, why pay extra versus any other Star Wars playset? So, where does all this leave SmartPlay? The hardware is excellent: custom silicon, automatic networking, wireless charging, spatial awareness. Someone really cared about the engineering. But the platform's success depends almost entirely on LEGO's willingness to support it, expand it, and make it affordable enough to exist beyond licensed battle play. We are fully dependent on LEGO producing the tags and the minifig logic that make the system meaningful. Kids can't add new actions without buying new sets. AFOS can't program logic. Tinkerers can't hack behaviors. It is a closed system, and we have to trust LEGO to keep supplying the vocabulary, the tags, the characters, firmware that makes the platform function. There are still lots of open questions. Will SmartBricks and tags be sold separately? Will we get generic tags, behavior packs? Will SmartBricks ever talk to motors? LEGO seems to be cautious with the rollout, with limited availability and only 3 sets at launch. It might take a while for the family to expand, and I cannot forget the powered up hardware scenario. Many cool components were released over the years, but some were discontinued even before the newest ones arrived. Will this happen to SmartX as well? So, this is impressive technology squeezed into a brick aimed 100% at playsets currently that may be difficult to integrate into modern LEGO aesthetics beyond those playsets, and a promising ecosystem with tons of possibilities that entirely depends on LEGO's commitment. I believe this element could determine the success or failure of the entire system. At this point, I can only dream of customizable tags for AFOS and Tinkerers, and motors that can receive inputs from SmartBricks. Who knows, maybe this will be the bright and smart future of LEGO electronics. But first, we need the system to be available everywhere, and we also need to see more sets. Until then, SmartPlay is simply an interesting new feature in a few sets, and definitely not a threat to how we play with LEGO today. Honestly, I'm really hoping LEGO gets it right this time. Otherwise, it could become a very expensive experiment for the company, and I'm sure many people believe there are areas in regular LEGO sets that could have benefited from that funding for improvements. Let me know, folks, what you think about all this smart stuff, the first wave of sets, the brick, tags, minifigs, features, availability. Let's talk about it in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications, as more exciting LEGO videos are coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.